Hello again, Primary 1-2, Primary 2a, Primary 2b and Primary 2-3. I hope you're having a brilliant day and hopefully this weather gets a little bit better. This week for grammar we're going to be looking at using different words instead of the words said. Okay, so this week we're going to look at different words that you can use instead of the word said. We use the word said when somebody has spoken something, like for example, Brian said, "Don't do that." But sometimes it can be a little boring if our whole story says, Brian said that, and Josie said this, throughout the whole story. So we're going to look at other words we can use that are even better than the word said and will make our stories a little bit more interesting, as well as our sentences more interesting for our readers. Okay, so this week's task, again, you can choose from mild, spicy or hot, depending on how much you want to challenge yourself. And we're going to be learning, as I've just said, on how to make our sentences a little bit more interesting and how to use the word said, a different word instead of the word said, in a sentence. So have a look at the little list here that we've got. When somebody's speaking, you can say how they've spoken it rather than saying the word said. So for example, if I'm whispering, you might say, Miss Kaminsky whispered, "Hello," to the boy. So there we're showing how they said it, not just that they said something. So that makes it a little bit more interesting. And when somebody's reading your story, they can also do that as well. Other words for said can be shouted, screamed, groaned if somebody's moaning about something. You might say somebody cried if they're crying about something. And that also shows the reader how the person's feeling. Have a go at the next examples and see if you can replace the word said in my sentences with an even better word. There is a list here and on the previous PowerPoint of words you might want to use, and I'm sure you can come up with some fantastic words instead of the plain old boring said. Good luck! Okay, so here's an example for you. "Stop," said Bob. "What are you doing?" said Amy. What could we put instead of the word said in each of these sentences? Have a little think to yourself and what words could you use? A clue would be the exclamation mark here and how Bob said it. "Stop!" And we've got here, "What are you doing?" asking a question with a question mark. What could you put instead of the word said? Have a little think. Okay, what did you manage to get? I have managed to get "Stop!" shouted Bob, because we know he must have shouted it because of the exclamation mark. So we've used the word shouted instead of said because that lets the reader know that he really shouted it. We want to emphasise it and make it more interesting. For the next sentence, "What are you doing?" asked Amy. Because remember, you've got your question mark on the end. We know she's asking a question. So she's asking it. "What are you doing?" asked Amy. When you're using the word said in a sentence, it doesn't mean to say you have to forget about your finger spaces and your capital letters. Remember, you need a capital letter to begin your sentence with the word stop, and you need a full stop to end your sentence. Again, a capital letter for what, because it's at the start of a sentence, even though it's a question, and then a full stop at the end because we are finished what we are saying. Remember those finger spaces, remember those full stops, and remember those capital letters, as well as changing the boring word said to an even better word. Can you create a sentence using one of these words? Remember, these are better words than the word said. Let's see what you come up with. Good luck! For your next challenge, I want you to be a book detective. Find a book at home or any of the books I've given you, and I would like you to find the word said in it. Can you replace it with an even better word? Good luck!